Knows Best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Monday. I just realized that last week I totally forgot to talk about Thanksgiving, and it's Thanksgiving week, you know, or after now, but last week's episode was on Thanksgiving. I'm like, oh my gosh, you were so dumb. That would have been a perfect conversation, which we did have the conversation about just holiday anxiety, which I'm glad that we did. However, I hope you guys had the best Thanksgiving. I hope that if your family is freaking crazy, it was fine. I hope that you protected your peace. I hope that you ate a lot of food. Okay, happy Thanksgiving. Obviously, I'm filming this again. You guys know I'm in Hawaii. We will be traveling back today, the Monday that this comes out. Our flight is I get so confused with like the time change because, for example, on the way there, we leave at like 9 a.m. and we get there at 5 p.m. our time, but it's going to be 1 p.m. Hawaii time. Okay, so I think on this Monday, we leave at like 3 Hawaii time, which is what, 7 this time? So you guys will be listening. I'll be chilling, maybe in the air, maybe not. However, again, I hope that your Thanksgiving was great. I hope if you traveled home, you traveled safely. I hope everything went well. I hope, again, you ate tons of freaking food. My favorite Thanksgiving food is stuffing. And for so long, you guys, I didn't eat it. Like, it kind of freaked me out when I was a kid. So I never really had it. And now I can't get enough. LaDonna also makes this 5 kinds beans. That's what we call it. But it's so good. I know not everybody likes beans. I had an ex-boyfriend once who like didn't like beans. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you a bitch? Turns out he was. That's okay. Now we move on. We're with Carter now. Amazing. You guys, am I engaged? Oh my gosh. Why am I not talking about that? Am I engaged when this comes out? Probably. You guys, to really actually give you an idea of where my head's at, like I talk about it a lot for content and with you guys, and I am excited, don't get me wrong, but like on my day to day, I haven't been thinking about it that much. Like number one, I know it's going to happen at some point. So like, okay, great. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get married to Carter. On the other hand, yeah, I just like am not that worried. I talk about my outfits also like on Instagram and TikTok, but you guys know me. Like I don't truly give a shit. Okay, sorry. Did you just hear that ding? My brother texted me about a Caleb Hammer episode, which, do you guys watch Caleb Hammer? He is that financial like guru. You guys probably see his clips all over the place. He's always like cracking down on people, but I actually don't really watch his full episodes, but I lie to my brother and tell him that I do. And I kind of just like get the spark notes. I fast forward through it, but he's always like, new episode. This one's funny. New episode. And I love my brother to pieces, but sometimes I'm just like, I'm not watching because they're long. You guys, they are so long. Even like John Deloney's episodes are like over an hour. I only watch his little ones, which overall it turns out to be probably the whole episode, because what I think he does is I think he films a whole episode. If you don't know who John Deloney is, I talk about him all the fucking time, but he takes calls. He answers typically 3 an episode. And I think he must have an idea of like what they're asking before, you know, they kind of vet them, because it's always 3 questions and they're each about like 30 minutes, 20 minutes long that he answers and like talks to them, and they give like their life situations, because he's a psychologist, I believe. I think he's a doctor. I could be wrong. He was like a grief counselor at one point, so he has a ton of experience in that realm. Carter was telling me how I should do call-ins, and I'm like, babe, I'm just like not qualified. And he's like, bitch. Again, he doesn't call me bitch, but he's like, nobody's like looking to you. They are looking to you for advice, but like nobody thinks that you're like a therapist. I'm like, you'd be shocked. Not actually, but like some people joke that I'm their therapist, but like you never want to get like, I just never want to lead somebody to believe that I'm like an expert. I think I give good advice, and that's where it ends. He's like, babe, people just love your advice. They'd love to hear your thoughts, like on a funny story, whatever. I'm like, okay, I'll think about it. So I'm thinking about it. However, back to what we were talking about, my brother, Caleb Hammer. You guys, speaking of, I sit down and edit these freaking podcasts, and I'm listening to myself, and there are so many times where I'm listening and then I go on a tangent and then I never get back to the full point, and I'm like, oh my God, is that frustrating for you guys? Do you hate me? Because Because I have in my notes one of the ones, not from last week, but the week before. I forgot to talk about it last week. Oh my gosh, Hot Mess Express. When I was telling you guys about the nail salon, which I went this morning. See, this is exactly what happens. I start going on a side thing and then I never make it back to the main journey. Brenna, hold it together. Okay, let me get back to the first point so I don't forget it, because then I go on and on and on and on and I never make it back, which I'm sure you guys are a lot like me and this happens to you and you don't mind. And honestly, you probably forget too because I just keep going. However, 2 weeks ago on that episode, I was talking about how I was at the nail salon and there was a girl next to me. So I pull up. I love this nail salon. It's cheap. It's fast. It's good. Okay, I get dip. I have gotten dip nails for as long as I can remember. And if you aren't super familiar, because I remember like years ago when I first started getting my nails done, people were like, get dip. And it's like, if you've never gotten it, you have no idea. But basically what they do is like they do your whole nail situation, just your real whatever nails. Okay. And then they coat them with they paint on them with like a clear sort of situation. I don't know what it is, but it's like a polish. Like that's how I would describe it to somebody who's never gotten dip. So they do this clear polish and then they dip. Hello. That's why it's called dip nails. Whatever. They dip your finger in this little circular thing of powder. So it's like a little circular storage box. Okay, it's like an inch by inch. I don't really know dimensions. I'm just saying it's little. It holds the color powder, that whatever color you want. So they'll give you the book to pick a color, and then the dip is like this powder formula. So they do the polish, they dip your finger, and like what should I describe it as? Like sand? It's like a really tiny, like little powder. Hello, you dumb bitch. Powder. You dip your finger in, and then obviously because you put that clear polish or whatever it is on your nail, it gets stuck to it. They do another coat, they dip it again. They do another coat, they dip it again. And I think it depends on the color, how many times they need to dip, but they just go finger, finger, finger. They go dip, 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 finger, 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 dip, dip, dip. And then at the end, they put another coat. It hardens like right away. They kind of zhuzh it down, like file it down with their little tools. And then at the end, they put another like clear polish, and then it makes it shine and look like any other sort of nail polish or whatever it is that you get, acrylic. Like, I don't know the ins and outs, but I think it's great. And it lasts me the longest. In college with my best friend Chelsea, used to go and get our nails done after work. So we would get the tips, and then it was the acrylic, I guess I don't know what it's called. Is it shellac? Where they put like, oh my gosh, it's so hard to describe when I sit here and think about it. It's like that goo, and they just but like they use some sort of like brush and they, line it up, and then it's real thick. Okay. And then they just like color on top of it. I'm not even sure if I'm remembering that correctly, but we used to do that. And then people would talk about, this is when like dip became popular. People were like, try dip. And if you don't know, you've never had it, you're like, what the fuck is that? Which, what does it matter? I don't know the difference. What kills me is when women are like, they go, this is my real nail. And it's like, I understand what you're saying. Like, you don't have a tip, but if you did that acrylic or shellac or dip, like, yeah, your nail's going to grow underneath it, and then they just keep piling on top of it. So I understand what you're saying when you say like, this is my real nails, but like, it's not really your real nail. It is, but it isn't. Like, everybody's is, unless you add the tip. But it's like, why is that a flex? Like, why was that? I haven't heard this in a long time, but I remember back in the day, like, girls would be like, this is my real nail. And I'm like, what? I don't even understand what you're saying to me. And also, who the fuck cares? Okay. Anyway, sorry. I'm just going to hop off that. Getting my nails done. I go to my salon. We're back to the main story. And this girl comes in. So I sit down. I immediately know what I'm getting. I either get A64 or S22, and they're quite literally identical. So they hand me the 3 books every single time. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. I know. Hello. Thank you. I ask for a little black coffee, and then they get it for me so kindly. This girl comes and sits down like 2 seats away from me, and she had really long nails. Like, definitely she had tips, like the super trendy nails, I don't know the shape, like stab somebody's eyes out sharp. Okay. I'm telling you guys, the gel or the dip that I get, it takes these people, I'm not kidding, 30 to 45 minutes tops, 45 at the most. They are so quick. Okay. The dip like dries immediately. You do the dip. They put the thing, they carve it down, and then you have to sit there for like 2 minutes. They tell you to go wash your hands and you're done. Like, it is so quick. And yeah, so the amount of time that I was sitting there getting my nails done, this girl, and I have a lot of comments on this, and if you've ever gotten your nails done, you'll understand. She sits down, right? I'm observing, but I'm also watching the TV. Oh my gosh, my nail salon, you guys, has the best TVs. Okay, they play these like, there is a little code in the bottom. Is it Tasty? Or, you know, Tasty, like the recipes. I think they also make TikToks and like they do super trendy like food videos. Well, they have these on my TV, but it's like in the regular TV form. It's not TikTok. And they're just like these quick little videos, and they're crafts. Like, it's these super edited, but like things that you could do just like crafts. And they're just constantly playing on all the TVs. So it's so fun to watch. And now I've gotten to the point where I've gone there so much. It's like the same things, but I still like, they'll make little sweet treats, or they'll do like a tie dye, or it's just like the most random, bizarre shit you've ever seen. And there are TVs everywhere. There's like 5 on my right, 5 on my left. And so you're always looking, which it's a little awkward because there's none right in front of you. Like, you sit at these tables, let's say there's 4, you know, long tables with 4 seats on them, and they just go in a row. Well, the walls are obviously going up and down the sides of this, where along the walls, they have pedicure stations. So it's like on the perimeter. Hello, I was going to say outside. On the perimeter of the place is like all of the seated pedicure stations, and then in the middle are these rows for sitting and doing nails. So the TVs are along that side. So it's great that they have these shows, but you have to like cock your head to one side or the other, and it looks like you're looking at the people either getting the pedicure or the people right next to you getting their nails done. And it's also hard not to look because you're facing that way. So when somebody sits down, you're looking. So I'm looking at the TV, and then this girl comes in, and she's like a young, cute gal with like the super trendy nails. I'm like, okay. So I'm just like getting my nails done. I'm looking, I'm watching the TV, but I'm also watching her. I apologize. I'm talking too fast again, but I'm going to keep going. And I am not kidding, in the 30 minutes to 45 minutes that it took to get my nails done, she was picking her color. And there are so many things that I want to say about this. Number one, the confidence to just sit there and like have no concept of like, okay, let me back up. On one hand, I think it's rude. Like, the reason I feel so pressured to go in and pick a color, you know, when they're sitting there waiting, for example, I got my toes done today, and I only ever just get regular polish on my toes because it lasts forever and I don't really care that much. I'm staring at the wall, and then once the girl comes over, the guy who's doing your nails, and they stand by you, you're like, oh, and you feel like you need to pick because you don't want to waste their time. Like, they're waiting on you, you know. And this is where I go back and forth. I'm like, on one hand, I wish I was confident to like sit there and wait until I decided. But on the other, it's like, they are service workers, and like taking your sweet time and making them do this, that, and the other. I'm like, there's got to be a fine line. So this girl is like, literally, it took her 30 minutes to just pick a color. She had them running to get, and you guys, it was very much like she has into the trendy nails because they were all like slightly different shades of maroon. What are they calling that right now? Cherry mocha, like a red brown. I call it burgundy or maroon. You guys, she was getting gel. So like I said, or not gel, bitch, dip. And so when they bring them out, they're these little circular containers that hold the powder. And then on the top, they have like the nail, you know, when they put the color on the nail so you can see it. They had like 10 of them out next to her. They kept bringing, and she's like comparing them. And yeah, on one hand, I'm like, props to this girl for like sitting here and, you know, taking her time and making sure it's what she likes, because how many of us go and get your nails done and you rush and then you hate it, but you don't speak up. Like, there is something commendable about like the confidence to like take your time and pick the right color. But I'm also like, damn, 30 minutes, this girl hasn't even started because she's still trying. And then she started, like, the lady was putting her nail in the dip and coloring it. And then she was looking at it on her hand and deciding. I'm like, holy shit. Like, one, I'm proud of you. But number two, like, these poor sweet people, like, they get paid per hour. You know, I hope she tips well, because I'm like, it took the whole time I was sitting there. She did not start actually getting her nails done until I left. And she sat down shortly after I got there. I'm like, holy fuck. That's insane. But anyways, that was the story I wanted to tell you 2 weeks ago that I didn't get around to tell you. Today, I went in, and the nail salon I typically go to, number one, they do 15% off on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. Okay. But they're a mile away from me. So I only get my toes done like twice a year. The polish stays forever. And honestly, I just like don't care that much. Like, if they're not perfectly done, who's staring that intently at my toes? Weirdos. Okay. So I don't care. So I typically walk like the mile to go get my nails done. Well, there is a nail salon quite literally right below me. So I went there once to get my toes and nails done. I think this might have been before graduation and before our families came, because I needed to get them done really quickly. But I posted a TikTok today, and I'm not sure if you saw it, but I was explaining how getting your toes and your hands, fingers done at the same time is so beyond stressful and annoying and overstimulating to me. Like, it is the most like chaotic thing to me ever. I can't do it. I did it one time and I'm like, never again. So I made a video. I literally this morning, you guys, I went down to the one beside me, because here's the other thing. If I were to walk a mile, I'm going to wear my tennis shoes. If I go get my toes done there, I'm going to be so pissed when I smudge them, because naturally I'm not going to wait long enough and then I'm going to sponge them. So I've decided that if I get my toes done, I'm going to do it here, because it's right downstairs and then I can just walk right back up in my little things. You know what I'm saying? So I decided to go get my toes done this morning, and then I'm going to go get my hands done tomorrow. And people are commenting on that video and they're like, bitch, just ask them to do it back to back. But it's like, that's 2 hours. Like, I would so much rather do one today and one tomorrow and break up that hour than sit in a nail salon for 2 hours. Absolutely not. That is not my style. But anyways, I got my nails done or my toes done. I'm going to get my nails done tomorrow. Let's freaking talk about the photos. You guys, the photo shoot. I'm so sad. I don't know when I'm going to get them back and if there will be some that I'm able to post, without Carter, but we did them with Maydog. Okay, wait, let me rewind. So we were supposed to do them Friday. Oh my gosh. All of last week, Carter was so busy, so extremely busy, like getting home at 8 p.m., leaving at like 6 in the morning. He had so much stuff. There was some contract he was working on. I don't fucking know. And Friday rolls around. He still hasn't picked an outfit, because here's the thing. He gets home and like, I'm not gonna be like, babe, pick your outfit, because I know that's so annoying to him. Well, it's not annoying to him. Like, he will, but it's like, he quite literally worked 13 hours, like the last thing he wants to do. And it's not that serious. Like, I'm just talking about Hawaii. Like, I don't deeply care that we have the perfect matching outfits. Like, I'm so much more excited about the moments and just like the happiness and like the memories. Like, I don't care about our outfits. So I wasn't going to bother him about it, because honestly, it wasn't really on my mind. Like, he'll figure something out. Well, Friday rolls around the morning, and Thursday night, I'm like, babe, you need to pick an outfit. And we sit there on the couch and he's exhausted and he's about to climb into bed. I'm like, okay, tomorrow morning, are you going to do it? And I need to learn with Carter that he puts things off way more than me. Well, I don't put things off. Like, if there's something I can get done right now, I'm going to get it done. And he's like, later. And he always gets to it, but like, he does it at the very last minute. And I just can't live like that. So Friday morning, I'm like, babe, what are you wearing? As he's getting ready for work. Again, he has another long day. And he was like, I don't know, just like pick something in my closet and bring it. I'm like, oh. So I posted on my story. You guys saw that denim jacket with the brown. He didn't end up wearing it, but it matched perfectly. I'm like, wait, this is cute. But I totally understand. It was like a little bit baggy. No, it still would have been cute, I think. But whatever. It didn't matter. Friday, I drop him off at work because I still had to go get my cream cardigan, and I drop him off, whatever, that's great. I'm going to pick an outfit, not too bothered by it, because the photos were supposed to be at 4:15. So I was just going to pick him up at the office and we were going to drive up there and he would change in the car. I go to the Galleria at 10, which is the mall that I need to go to because the garage is in there, which is my favorite cardigan. You guys know this. And I get there at 9:50, and right as I'm walking in at 10, Carter's calling. And immediately I'm like, oh my God, is he dead? Like, what happened? Because he never calls me during the day, obviously. I'm like, babe, what's up? Like, are you okay? What, do you need something? And he's like, no, babe, but is there any way you think that this girl could move the photos to tomorrow or Sunday? And I'm like, oh, no, because when I booked it, she obviously only had this date, that date, and this date. But I'm like, it's okay. Like, if we don't do them now, because when I booked these photos, you guys, I didn't know we were doing the Hawaii photos, right? So now that we're doing them, it's like, what the fuck are we doing these photos for? I mean, I'm still glad we did them because they're with Maydog, and like, that's amazing and special to me. But at the end of the day, I was like, okay, we don't need to get them done because we're about to get photos done in Hawaii, but like, I already booked them. You know what I mean? So I was like, babe, don't worry about it. We could do them in January, because it was like this date or January. And originally our thought was to do like these 4 Christmas photos, which not like we'd actually send out a Christmas photo, but just like holiday fall photos to start our little journey together. And anyways, I was like, I don't know, but like, don't worry about it. I was like, babe, if you're stressed, like, it's not going to be fun. And if you have to work, you have to work. Like, hello, I get it. So I was like, let me just text her. And if we can't do them, it's no big. I was like, it's totally okay. But he felt so bad. He was like, please apologize. And then he apologized to me like a million times. I'm like, babe, it's literally no problem. No problem. It's okay. It's just photos. I message her and I'm at the mall. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, I'm not going to buy this cardigan right now if I don't need to, even though I really want it and I know I'd wear it. I'm like, what am I doing here? And I texted her and I'm like, hey, oh my gosh, so sorry. Which I had talked to her that week because she's like, what are you guys wearing? I'm just kind of, so I have an idea for the photo, blah, 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 whatever. So I had told her what I was wearing, but I was like, Carter's been so busy with work. Like, I'm so sorry. I'll ask him tonight. So I had bothered him like Monday or Tuesday, but then Thursday I messaged her. I'm like, he'll be wearing neutrals. Like, I don't know exactly yet, but like based off my outfit. And she's like, no problem. Amazing. Anyways, so she knew he was super busy with work. I'm like, I am so sorry to do this last minute. Like, I will pay whatever I need to. I did give her a deposit. I'm like, we can book it, in January when you had open dates. Like, I'm so sorry. He's so sorry. There's just nothing we can do. Like, he has to get this thing done. And so she's like, oh my gosh, no problem. She's like, let's find, I actually have an opening now on December 8th. I was like, okay, let me double check with Carter. And that was like a Saturday, I think. No, a Sunday. So I'm like, it should work, but I don't want to guarantee that way we don't bail again. So I was like, I'm going to ask him tonight because I'm not going to bother him at work. Like, he's super busy, but I'll let you know ASAP. And she's like, amazing. Well, she messaged me back like 5 minutes later. She's like, actually, tomorrow I'm shooting at the spot where I originally told you to go. Like, could you guys come there at 11? I'm like, yes. I'm like, whatever Carter has, if he has to work, he can work around it, but it's Saturday, we'll be there. And so I got Carter later, way later. He worked and he's like, oh my gosh, perfect. So Saturday morning, we wake up, we go on a walk, we go to the gym, and I posted on my story. I came back a little bit early so I could get ready. You guys, the outfit, how cute. I want a little applause for the outfit because I've never worn something so cute and so trendy. Oh my gosh, our photographer, Kaylee, she was incredible. She's like the sweetest, kindest gal, which I'm so sad. She was talking about how her and her boyfriend will probably move back to, well, I shouldn't say, not here in the next few years because her boyfriend's going to chiropractic school. And anyways, but I'm so sad because I'm like, if this girl could take our photos forever, like, she was prash. She gave us like so many prompts. Okay, so we wake up, we do this, and we go. And we meet her. She's finishing up with these other people. So we're kind of standing around, and we have May because I wanted May. She's in the photos. And I sent Kaylee prior, like, Pinterest inspo. She asked me for it. She's like, can you just give inspo? So I sent some with dogs. I sent some for us. But the reason I found her is somebody had posted photos she had done of like some influencer, and I just love them. Like, I really like the candid lifestyle photos that people do. nowadays, like not superposed. I obviously wanted a few of us like holding May and sitting with May, just like smiling. But then we did a ton of like just couple ones without May. But we went to this park, you guys. So she's finishing up and then she says hello. We walk over to this little creek. There's nobody there, but it's like a huge park with greenery and trees and the whole thing. Well, May dog, she's like, do you want her on the leash or off? She's like, I'd prefer, for the photos off. And I'm like, of course. I'm like, she will not run away. Like literally. And I'm not a fan of obviously going off leash. Like I think that's so bad, but there was nobody around, so we were good. We take her off, we do a few, we're like walking and May's running behind us, and then we sit down and then we're holding her and smiling, and then really that's all we did. And then we did couple ones. So she'd be like, okay, Carter, run up behind Brenna and like grab her and like, lift her or whatever. Nothing crazy, but it was so cute and so fun. And Carter, oh my gosh, before we left, I'm like, bitch, eat. Okay, we're not going to get there because Carter during the week, he has a protein shake and then he doesn't eat until lunch. Okay, so he kind of like fasts, I guess not technically because he has the protein shake, but he doesn't eat. He's like, babe, I don't eat during the week. Like I don't eat until lunch. And I'm like, okay, but remember that weekend when we went ring shopping at the mall and it was 11, our appointment. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry. I'm not cutting any of this out. So you're just going to hear all of my mishaps. Our appointment was at 10. It finished at 11. And remember, we went to go vote afterwards. And at 11, he's like, babe, I'm starved. And you could just tell like he was so hangry. I'm like, oh my gosh. So we went to Breadwinners. I'm like, babe, the photos are at 11. If you don't eat anything and you get grumpy during the photos, not that he ever gets like outwardly grumpy. He doesn't get like mean or anything, but I can just tell in his mood, like he's hungry and then he's not as like fun. Neither am I. Like, I'm not fun when I'm hangry. So I'm like, please eat. And I don't know if he did. I'm like, at least have a protein shake. And he's like, I did. And I'm like, be so fucking for real. I swear to God, if you start getting shysty, and not that he actually gets shysty, but just like your mood drops, I'm going to be sad because this should be fun. Like, we're taking photos and like, I don't know. I don't want you to get grumpy in the middle of it. But he was good. Everything was good. And actually after he was like, actually that was so much fun. And I'm glad we have practice for Hawaii. And I don't know how many couples photos we're going to do in Hawaii. It's pretty much just for the whole family. And then our immediate family, like Carter's parents and siblings. And so, yeah, but it was great. And Maydog, oh my gosh, we were taking couples photos or just like the two of us for so long. And she would just like mosey around like super close to us. Anytime you say May, she's coming, which back in the day, you guys, before she was mine, Garrett who owned her, my friend, she used to never be on the leash. Like he would quite literally drop her off. Like I'd be at Foxtrot working. He would just come walking over on the side of the street, her not on a leash. Like never did she ever even use a leash. So she's really good. Like that's how he always just had her and she would just follow. So at this park, we let her like mosey around. Oh my gosh, she squatted to pee like 100 times because she's getting over her UTI and I think it's better, but I think she's now in the habit of squatting. So like we'd look over at her and she's like squatting to pee. I'm not kidding, like 100 times. We were dying. And then we'd walk and she would follow like she was Prash. And yeah, that was so good. And it was honestly, you guys, it took us longer to drive to this park, than it did to take the photos. We left at 10:30. We got there 11 to 12. We got home by 12:30 and then we just hung out. Oh, and then that night we went to Gladiator 2. Holy shit. I'm like, I feel like it was a jam-packed weekend, which it's nothing crazy for probably most people, but Carter booked us a dinner reservation at the Italian spot that we love. And then we have a theater right here. So we walked over and watched Gladiator 2. And here's the thing. I loved it. But if you're not into like beheadings and like crazy, fights and like action-packed things, you probably won't like it. But I thought it was really good. And I'm not typically that bitch. And I don't think I've even seen Gladiator 1. Not that I can recall, but I enjoyed it. It was really cool. Like the Coliseum. I don't know. I think if you're a girl and you're on the fence, obviously if you have a boyfriend, you'll probably go with him. But if you're just wanting to see a good movie, I thought it was really good. Okay, bitch, quit yapping. Other than that, you guys, and then I'm going to get into the questions that you guys emailed me. 5 people emailed me longer questions. So I'm going to do those. And I haven't even really peeked at them. So I apologize in advance. They might be the same. They might be different. I don't know. And we'll find out together. However, However, my Amazon orders, you guys know I'm not typically a girly who buys things, but this past week I'm like, okay, what do I need for vacation? And I was waiting to get paid, and then I did on Friday. So I'm like, bang, 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 bang. You probably know how it goes. It's like you have all of these ideas and it's like, okay, once I get paid, I'm going to get this, this, and this. I haven't been this way in a while, but I also haven't bought things in a long time. I've gotten the Glotion. I got a ton of sandals, which I'm only going to keep one pair. I think the espadrilles, if you saw my video, and some other travel size things like a hair or a heat protectant for my hair, sunscreens, hairspray, because we're not going to check a bag. I hate checking a bag. I don't want to do it. I like to just have my shit with me, and that's that. So I just needed to get like a few little things. But other than that, you guys, yeah. Okay, let's get into the questions. First, I want to start out with this one's probably super relatable. I peeked at this one and it's pretty long, but I don't know if I'm going to read through it or if I'm going to answer as I go, but we'll start. Okay. She said, "Hi, Brenna. I was recently blindsided by my ex-boyfriend after a 4-year relationship. We dated for 2.5 years and lived together for 1.5 years. We adopted our dog together in February of 2023, and I genuinely thought he was the person I would marry." Okay. We'll keep it going. I'm 23. Okay. Which, first, let me just butt in here. You are so young, and I know anybody who hears that is like, shut the fuck up. But it's true. 23 is so young. So you've been with this guy since you were 19, or you guys started dating at 18 or 19, like your college career essentially, which, not to invalidate it, I had a boyfriend for almost, I think maybe 3 years in college, and it was real and it was legit. But now looking back at 27, I'm like, oh my God. And that is the one thing, like, if you're going through a breakup in this moment, and I know, again, here's the thing, there's nothing anybody can really say to you to like make you feel better. You know, it's a step-by-step process. Anything people say, you're young, you know, he wasn't good for you, or you're going to look back one day. It's like, okay, but that's not helping me right now. But I just want to give you like reassurance, I suppose, because my boyfriend in college, I did the breaking up. Sorry, I have like something stuck in my throat. But it was a really great relationship. And at that moment, if you would have told me, I guess I don't know what I was thinking. Anyways, let me get back to you. So, okay, you were together basically 19 to 23. Okay, I'm 23 and this was my first long-term relationship. I feel like it's a little abnormal to have such a long relationship end in a blindsided dumping. Okay, put a pin in that. We were each other's first everything. And as someone who places a lot of value on that, I feel like I meant nothing to him. I am having a hard time processing how someone I loved so deeply could look at me and our dog and choose to walk away without even trying to communicate and get through a stressful time together. I feel like that level of commitment is the bare minimum in a relationship. And the fact that when it came down to it, he couldn't give me anything is heartbreaking. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. She has it broken up in chunks. Number one, that is heartbreaking. Number two, like all of the things that you are saying are so valid. And blindsided dumpings. Okay, so I dated a guy before Carter and we broke up and then got back together after 1.5 years. But the first time it was a blindsided breakup. Kind of. Now in hindsight, like hindsight is 2020, and I think you will get there too, where you're like, oh, like all of those things that you're like, they're red flags, not red flags, but like the parts where you guys, you know, I'm sure you argued. I'm sure there were things that you're like, once you get out of like the immediate breakup of it, you'll be like, holy shit. And it'll make so much more sense. But I was also you. I had only dated this guy for 1.5 years. But it was very serious. Like I didn't live with him, but I also thought like this was the guy I was going to marry. Like the relationship honestly overall was really good. And then we woke up one day and he came to me and I quite literally was like talking about a work event. I was like, oh, I don't want to commit because I just have commitment issues. Like I don't want to say I'm going to something and then last minute I don't feel like it. quite literally, this is the conversation I was having. And right then and there, and he was like, yeah, I kind of do, like I kind of had the same problem. I don't remember the actual words now, but then all of a sudden he was like talking about not being able to commit to me after we had been together for like a year and a half and everything was good. It was like, so he had mental health issues, but they never had anything to do with me. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and like that was it. We like took a break. He was like, I just need time and space, and like didn't speak to me. And then after like a week and a half, he wanted to kind of like hang out or whatever. I was like, I'm not fucking doing that. Like, we were just dating for a year and a half. Like, I'm not sitting here to like be your little buddy. You know what I'm saying? But it was like completely like, there was not arguments that we had been having. Everything had been so good. We just went home. We just did family photos. I was in his family photos. Okay. And then out of nowhere, and I was like, holy shit. I was so blindsided. I was so hurt. And I went through all of those same feelings. I'm like, how did he not talk to me? How was he feeling this way? Because here's the thing. It didn't just happen in that moment. Like him, your boyfriend probably has been thinking these things. And here's the truth is he wasn't discussing it with you. And that is an issue. But also to give them both some grace, I've been on the other end of it. And like my college boyfriend, I had thought a lot about that before I did it. But like, I wasn't going to talk to him about that because, of course, if I would have went to him and voiced the concerns that I was having, like he would have tried to talk me out of it. So to this guy's defense, which I don't need to defend him, I'm not defending him, but like, of course, he's not going to talk to you about like him having issues in your relationship or like having these thoughts, because you would just deny and like try and make it all better. And like that wouldn't help him process his feelings any better. I think it would have all played out the same way regardless. If he would have came to you when he first started feeling these feelings and said, hey, like these are my concerns, or like I'm worried that I'm not feeling the same way, or whatever the excuse is, you would have just then been more panicked, and like you would have had these conversations, and I think it would have all fell out the same. You wouldn't have convinced him to change his mind. Like if he chose to break up with you, clearly that breaking up outweighed staying together and staying with you and the dog. And I know it can be like, what the fuck? Like, how do we get a dog together? But like, the reality is this can happen to anybody. This could happen to me. Carter could come to me tomorrow and be like, oh, I'm not feeling this. And that is a scary, scary thing. But like, it is also the price you pay for loving someone. And although it is like you were 100% blindsided and he might not give you any answers, like if he's not communicating after the fact, there's nothing that he could say that would make you feel better. I'm afraid. Like you're always going to have questions. There's always going to be things, and closure you're going to have to find. And with time, naturally, you will find that if you keep it moving. Okay. I would say obviously don't speak to him, but like it will become more clear and you will come to certain conclusions. You'll be like, oh, like this was like something we didn't really see eye to eye on. And number one, the fact that he couldn't communicate with you, like that is a big red flag. And again, I gave him grace because I understand where he's coming from, and I've been that person. Like you're not going to talk to the person you're having issues with and like trying to figure out if you should break up with that person with them, obviously, because that's just a really hard conversation. But to your side, to your defense, like it is shitty that like he decided and that was that. But I also think when somebody chooses to break up with the other person, they are doing you a good thing. I don't know the right verbiage for that, but like you cannot stay in a relationship, like no matter how much you wanted it to work. Okay, if he didn't want to be in that, and if you would have convinced him to stay, even though he wants to go, that's not a relationship and that's not love. Okay, he could have stayed with you if you would have begged him to stay. And then what? You're with a guy who like isn't obsessed with you, who doesn't want to continue a life with you and create a future. He's just there because you begged him to stay. Like in the long run, he is doing you so many good things because he's allowing you to find your actual partner. And I know it's so hard in the moment to see this because you did picture this life with him. And that's like one of the hardest things about a breakup, and especially a breakup like this where you're blindsided, where it's been for years. It's like you had this future created in your head and that's all gone. Right? That is completely out the window. It is now like you are in the unknown. Completely who, like, you got to find a new place to live. Now you have a dog. If now the dog is yours, you no longer have a partner. You thought that maybe you'd get engaged next year in the wedding. Like, every single idea that you had for your future is now gone because that person's not in it. You know, you planned so many things imagining that they're there with you and that you're with them and that you go here and that you move there. But also, how beautiful to be 24 or 23 years old with a completely open road. And I know, again, everything that I'm saying, like, when you're in it, it's like, shut the fuck up, because I wanted to be with that person and I wanted to marry them and I wanted, like, you know, to be in a relationship, and I get it. But soon, in due time, it will be amazing because, number one, you'll come to terms with the reason for the breakup and you'll be like, oh, that person wasn't right for me. Like, regardless of what happened in your relationship, if he chose to end it, if he chose to not choose you, like, that is really a good thing because it's allowing you to find that person who will choose you day in and day out. Okay. And this relationship taught you so many things. Being with somebody for 4 years teaches you so much. It is going to be a scary place once you get back into dating because you probably have never really dated and now you're like a full-blown adult. I think this happens for a lot of people. A lot of us date in high school and in college, and then a breakup happens. This is like a tale as old as time. I know girls who've been together with somebody since high school and then they break up at 25 and it's like, you're still so young, but you've only known this person for the past 7 years. It's terrifying, but it's also such a blessing in so many ways. Okay, I'm going to keep going with this. His reasons were that he is emotionally immature, okay, and too stressed out with his job to handle supporting someone in a relationship. The more questions I asked and the more I tried to understand why this happened, the meaner and more frustrated he got. I got myself off of the lease and moved back in with my parents. I kept our dog. Okay. This was a paragraph. His reasons were that he's too emotionally immature and too stressed out. Again, excuses for a breakup. I think, number one, he's trying to understand where his feelings are coming from and then also give you an answer. I wouldn't this is what I did with that boyfriend that I was talking to you about. Like, he gave me reasons. It was his mental health and it was his career. And I was like sitting here stewing over them. And I'm like, but it doesn't make sense because you can poke holes in all those things. It's like, yeah, but I was there for you. Like, I would have supported you in that times. Like, I would have worked through you becoming emotionally mature and figuring out the job thing. So it's always like, that doesn't make any sense because I was there. Like, I was with you and I was willing to put up with those things. It never makes sense. But again, I think to give credit, because it goes both ways. So the person breaking up with somebody, they're trying to understand it themselves. But I think at the fundamental level, like, they're just choosing not to. And maybe they are really stressed and maybe they do think that they have a lot of growing to do, but they still could have chosen to do that with you. They're just not. But again, like, not to say that it's right or wrong, but just to like kind of explain. Okay, I'm going to keep going again. I think I'm struggling with the fact that this person who I loved changed so drastically right in front of me. He discarded me, broke my trust, spoke to me in unimaginable ways, and made me feel like I was easy to walk away from. I never got to say goodbye to his family, who I loved, and I lost all of our mutual friends too. I'm truly heartbroken, and although I know I deserve so much better, it's the worst pain ever knowing he could treat me so carelessly. Ugh, my heart breaks for you because I've been there and I get it. And every single girl listening to this right now has also been there. It is a really scary thought that somebody you loved, you know, discarded you and was able to just like walk away so easy. But number one, I bet it wasn't easy. And number two, again, it has so little to do with you. Like, when we go through a breakup, we immediately are like, what could I have said? Was there ways I could have treated them better? Like, we always, because it's the only thing we can control is who we are and what we did, we immediately are like, oh, I should have done this and that and the other. A lot of times it has to do with that person and the timing of their life and what they're looking for. Like, maybe, and again, he didn't say this, but like, he, you know, wants a different life or like is envisioning different things, or again, is going to therapy and just like needs to be by himself. Like, I respect people who do that because I think it is true. I think you can love somebody when you don't love yourself, but I think you will find the best love when you are the most content with yourself. So I think the most inner work that we can do, I think the better. However, okay, let me read this last paragraph and then we can continue talking. She said, I don't like how shallow. Oh, one more thing I also wanted to add is like breaking up with the family and the friends. Like these are just all parts of the breakup process that in the moment, like I remember that boyfriend that I dated, I was so close with his sisters and I messaged them both and I was probably so pathetic, but it was so sad. Like again, they lived in different places. I was also trying to get an understanding of like what he was telling them because I'm like, he's not giving me the full fucking story because it was the same thing. It was like I could poke holes in his argument. So it didn't make any sense. And they were like so kind, but it was like with a breakup, you are breaking up with the family and it sucks because not only do you have 4 years with this person, like again, you thought this was going to be your family for life. I get it. Like there's so many parts of the breakup that are hard. Your future vanished. Not that it's actually gone, but the one that you thought in your head, the family you thought you were going to have, you thought you were going to spend the holidays like right around the holiday season with these people. And it's so sad. And I get it. Moving out, like the drastic change from living together and then you and your dog moving in with your parents. But it will all work out. Like the one thing I can tell everybody that's going through a hard thing right now, you've gone through every hard thing in the past, and breakups are quite literally like pivotal moments in our life. And in the moment, it's the scariest, darkest place ever. But in a year even, you're going to be like, holy shit, thank God. Like I cannot wait until you come back to me and you're like, Brenna, I'm so happy. I'm so thankful I'm not with that man. Like it happens to everybody because once you're out of it and you can see clearly, like you see everything that was wrong. And also, even if there weren't things wrong with the relationship, the fact that he did up and walk away, it's like, I would never want to be with that person. Like, how would you ever trust him again? Like, let's say he comes back in a month. Like, that's exactly what I did to myself with my ex-boyfriend. We got back together a year and a half later, and the whole time I was like nervous because he just up and had a fucking tizzy and the same thing happened again. So it's like in a year from now, you are going to be so grateful. I promise you. And I know it sucks to hear now, but okay, let me finish this last paragraph. I don't like how shallow dating apps feel, and I'm not a partier, so I think I'll have a hard time meeting someone out and about. I know 23 is young, but I went from being so confident that I have my life planned out to not knowing anything anymore. I'm so angry with him, but I also still love and miss him. The conflicting feelings are so hard. If you have any advice for recovering from being discarded and keeping hope that there is someone else out there who will stick around through stressful times, I would appreciate it. Oh my gosh. First of all, okay, I didn't even say this in the beginning. You are so sweet and I love you and you're going to be okay. And you will find somebody. Like, oh my gosh. And you just said it. I know I'm so young, but you were 23 years old. The dating apps, scary place. Like these are all just going to be learning curves, and take your time. I don't know how recently this happened, but like you don't need to be on the apps tomorrow. And also, if you don't want to be on the apps, you don't have to. And I'm not a partier either. So I chose the apps because that's how I was going to meet somebody. But for example, Carter has a friend that he caught up with last week, and this guy is from here. So he's kind of just taking recommendations from his friends to find a girl. He's like, I hate the apps, whatever. And so you'll just have to put yourself in different positions. But with the future that you thought you had gone, opens the door for like a new world that you didn't even know existed. You could move somewhere you haven't even met. Like the majority of people that are going to be in your life for the rest of your life, you haven't even met them yet. I, at 23, had just met my best friend, Natalie. I don't think I'd met my friend, Elisa. I hadn't met Carter. I hadn't met the nanny fam. Like there are so many pivotal people in my life right now that I did not even know existed when I was 23 years old. And the world is so open to you, and you have your dog, God bless. And what I need to remind any girl in this position is like, it literally has nothing to do with you. I mean, finding a person you're compatible with, obviously it does have to do with you, but like there's nothing more you could have said. There's nothing more you could have done. There's nothing more you could have done of anything. Like you are worthy. You are good enough. It's so easy when you're going through a breakup to go doomsday and like, I'm never going to find somebody. And like, I thought this future that I had, like, what do I do now? And it's like, it is really just scary. Like there's so many feelings. It's grief, it's fear, it's sadness, it's heartbreak, of course. Okay. But what I do know is you will find somebody, and it doesn't need to be right now. And also with the dating apps, like we always just like look at things and say, oh my gosh, right in this moment, like everything's chaos and everything's a mess, but nothing needs to be decided right now. nothing. You take it day by day. You get through these emotions. I wouldn't even go on a date if it's pretty recent. Like, take your time, lean on your parents, lean on your friends, like spend more time with your friends, find things to do with them. And you'll I cannot tell you, those first days and weeks of a breakup, hardest days of your life, but slowly but surely, the sadness will come and go, and trust me, it'll hit you like a brick wall on some days out of nowhere, typically around your period, I would say, because that happened to me. But then other days will get better and you'll start looking back on it. And again, I would just say, do not speak to this man unless you have to finish things out with the apartment. But if you're off the lease, do not talk to him, because you can't think clearly when you're talking to him. So the more days you go apart, it's already been a break, you are already moved out. It's about as black and white as it can be. You've already had your life flipped on its head. So do not speak to him. It's not going to help anything. Take some time away. That way you can start thinking clearly and you're going to be okay. Oh my gosh. Thank God you have parents that can take you in and be there. And even if it's not the best situation, my parents would take me in, but I'd probably hate my life. If you're in that situation, you'll figure it out. You'll work, you'll make money, and you'll be able to move out again. But just be so glad you had somewhere to go, and it's all going to work out. I promise you, you're going to be okay. I'm thinking of you. Quite literally, message me anytime. But it is a blessing in disguise. And one day, and it might not be soon, and that's okay. You're probably going to date multiple people. That's just the reality of it in this age. You're going to go on dates, you're going to meet people, but that one day when you meet your real person, it's just all going to make sense. Because I look back and of course I could sit here and be like, you dumb bitch, why did you get back with your ex-boyfriend? I was just talking about, but it literally got me here. The processes that I went through, the dating that I went through, my college boyfriend, just like you, which this is a little bit out of it. So I dated that guy from 19 to 21. It led me here, and it was a great thing. And it was sad at the time. And then I was single for a year or two. And then I dated this guy. That was the worst heartbreak ever. I was so sad. Same thing. I thought his family was amazing. I was so excited for that. But then it's holy shit, that would have not been bad. But now I'm oh, I would have just been dealing with a lot. His mental health was a big issue. And now I met Carter and I'm oh my gosh. But I had to date those people to learn things about myself, to learn things about men that I like. And it led me to Carter, who, could he leave tomorrow? Yes. But I think I've met such a strong person. And you're going to look back in a couple months and be like, that guy, that loser. And I know you love him and miss him now. And you don't have to call him a loser. We don't always have to hate the ex-boyfriend, but you're going to be like, oh my gosh, he's so right. He was emotionally immature. There were things that we had to deal with and compromise on. And I don't have to do that anymore. It's so beautiful once you're single and you're like, oh my God, the world is your oyster. And you will see that soon. But you're the best. Reach out to me anytime and it's going to be okay. Okay, next. This one's really short. Going through a divorce currently and having a hard time finding new friends since all of my friends were really just his friends. Advice on getting out while on a budget. Oh my gosh, girl. Well, number one, honestly, Bumble BFF. It's kind of can be a scary place. One time I had this girl send me her tits. She was a lesbian on the Bumble BFF, which I don't have a problem with lesbians, obviously, but I wasn't looking for that kind of friend. She sent me her literal tits and I was like, oh my God. Bumble BFF, honestly though, is a great place. Social media, if there are places you go, reach out. I feel we're all old enough now where it's not weird and we're all trying to make friends. Maybe, somebody at work, if you have an office job, and then go out and meet their friends. It depends on what your hobbies are. If you're an outgoing, or not an outgoing person, an outdoorsy person, maybe join a league. Again, I always say sporty things because I'm a sporty bitch, but book clubs, maybe look online for a book club or things like that, where it's naturally it's a social setting. If it's an online virtual one, or if it's an in-person, at a library, there are so many things like this. Use the interweb. At this point, if you're not using the interweb for these things, look up. I'm sure there are you can Google in your city, not even singles, but people just looking to meet one another. That's what I would say. And I'm thinking of you. I'm sorry that you're going through a divorce, but you'll meet your friends. It just takes one. Like, it literally just takes one. So put yourself out there. It can be uncomfortable, but like if you really want to make new friends, then you're just going to have to be in uncomfortable positions for a little bit of time, but then you'll meet a friend or multiple friends, and then it's all figured out and you guys will find things to do. Okay, this is a long one. I'm going to run through it first and not insert myself, and then we'll talk. Okay, she said, "Hi Brenna, happy Sunday girly. So I sent you a shorter Q&A, but thought I'd send you my scenario. I don't necessarily need advice because I'm moving on, but I just need reminded that I'm that bitch. She did say need reminded. I just need to be reminded that I'm that bitch and my person is out there. I was exclusive with a boy not so long ago and he ghosted me out of the blue. Everything was going so well. We spoke our future plans. He wanted me to meet his friends. I almost met his parents, but I chickened out, etc., etc. Everything was perfect, and one Tuesday evening I got a feeling. Now I'm someone that needs to air out my problems ASAP, but I need to feel safe to do so. I text him asking if I could chat to him. He said he'd call me when he got home. Brenna, I never heard from that man again." She has now I have no idea what happened, and that's what kills me the most. Was it me? Hell no. But still, every now and again I think about it. We both unfollowed each other on Instagram. I unfollowed first, obviously. He unfollowed after viewing my story, and I've now blocked him on WhatsApp and IG because I don't want to think about him. Love that. Props to you, bitch, because that's the hardest thing to do, so I'm proud of you. Okay, sorry, keep going. What makes this worse is we dated 2 years prior to this for 3 months, and he had a bit of a moment and ended up leaving to Australia. His ex had cheated on him, so it wasn't the right time. This time around, we dated for 3 weeks before he went cold turkey, and I found this time around he was more keen than he was 2 years ago. I genuinely thought he was going to ask me to be his girlfriend, and we were going to be together, as that's all he spoke about, our bloody future. I love this. Okay. It wasn't meant to be, and that's okay. But every now and again, I feel a bit sad and have to remind myself my future husband should be obsessed with me from beginning to end. Yes. My future husband wouldn't dare ghost me out of the blue. Also, yes. My future husband will be able to communicate with me and understand that it might take me a while to be fully comfortable. 1000%, bitch. Okay. It's sad, and I just need someone to hype me up a bit. Sorry for the long story. And even if you decide not to use this in your episode, writing everything out has been good therapy for me. Anyways, thank you for everything you do. Lots of love. I love you. Oh my gosh. Okay. You are that bitch. Listen to me right now. You are that bitch. You didn't do anything. A man who ghosts is a little fucking bitch. Okay, do you hear me? And you know that. And here's the thing, you blocked him on everything, and that's what you have to do. Do not unblock him. Like, the thing is, like, he's just not your person. And these emotions that you go through are going to come and go. Like, we always think, like, what if, yeah, he ghosted me, but like, we had this connection. So what if? No. Put the connection aside, like his actions, the up and leaving 2 times, like, nope. And I know the first time was like a little bit more justified, but still, like, the fact that it also didn't work out 2 times, it's not going to work out the 3rd time. Keep him blocked. You are that bitch. Okay. You're hot, you're kind, you're funny, and you're smart. This goes to all of my girls that are not feeling their best selves. Like, you are amazing, and there's nothing you could do with the wrong guy. Like, you could quite literally be the perfect girlfriend. He's still the wrong guy. Okay. And I know it's hard for our brains to like justify. And it's like, well, what if this and what if that? No what ifs. Like, if it didn't work, it didn't work, and that's okay. But it has nothing to do with you. It has quite literally nothing to do with you. You did everything you could. You were a sweet girl. If you feel like, oh, like I wish if I would have opened up sooner, like he said that I was too close, like, then that's just the wrong person, because any other guy would go at your speed. You know what I mean? Like, whatever the thing is, you're like, oh, but if I just did this, nope. Like, with the right guy, you cannot do the wrong thing, and they would sit there and they would wait, or they would, have the conversations, they would communicate, they wouldn't ghost out of the fucking blue. Okay. That's all. Love you. Okay, I have 2 left. This one's shorter, and then we'll end with the longer one. Hey, Brenna, my question is, what would you do if your boyfriend's mother gets into your relationship and speaks very negatively about you and is just overall one of those mothers who are obsessed with their boy child? Hope you are having a wonderful day. You guys are so sweet. I love these emails. I'm going to do this, I think, weekly. We're going to redo the pod. We're going to find a way to like mesh all of my favorite things together. But anyways, hi. Okay. Here's the thing. I have a friend. It depends on, number one, your age. Because I feel like when boys are younger, and I'm not justifying it in any way, but like when you're recently out of the house, mothers can still kind of be attached, which this is a mom issue. But I have a friend who dates a guy who is an only child with a single mom. Okay. Mother, boy. That's it. Those two. Okay, so as you can imagine, obsessed. And like, he doesn't even realize like how involved his mom is because it's only been them two their entire life. Okay. And here's the thing. It depends on your boyfriend because the mom, like if she's, okay, number one, the fact that she speaks negatively about you, that's a whole other side topic because my friend's mom loves her, but she was just like very involved. Okay. Speaking very negatively about you, is that something you're going to be able to get over? Okay, let me hone in my thoughts. Number one, what really matters is your boyfriend. Is he going to be able to create boundaries? And it doesn't need to happen right here, right now. Like, I get it. A relation that is his mother. And similar to my friend, like that was, or is, not was, she's very much alive. That is his mom and is always going to be his mom. And it's always been them two. But he has slowly but surely created boundaries in his relationship because she was like very much in it. You know what I mean? So, and now they're incredible, like literally amazing. But at first it was hard for them both to deal with, you know, because he didn't see a problem. But my friend was like, oh, like she's, you know, always giving her input and is always trying to do this. And I get it. I get it. So is your boyfriend the kind of guy that's going to put up the boundaries? Like, does he see it as a problem? Because that's the first thing. Like, if a man is unaware and is like, no, you're the issue, he's not the one. Like, I would get out then because this is going to be a lifelong issue. And for what? Like, that is just unnecessary drama and just like annoyance in your life. Like, if Carter's mom was like that, obsessed with him and like hated me, I couldn't live like that. Like just point blank, if she was going to be a part of your life forever and your boyfriend isn't able to stand up for you, that's where the issue lies. If he like sees that it's an issue, but just hasn't really navigated like how to put his foot down and create those boundaries, I think it's something you can work through. And I think that's on him though, to have the conversation. Me and Carter always talk about like, if we have issues with our parents, whether it's like, if I have an issue with his parents or he has an issue with my parents, like you speak to your own parents. Like it's up to that person to create those boundaries. And if you get to a place, like I feel like now I talk to Carter's mom all the time. If something needed to be discussed, I feel like I could speak up and Carter supports me in that. But I do feel at the beginning, like he needs to be the one because she'll just turn it on you and be like, she's the one. And she still might do that. But what matters is if your boyfriend sees it as a problem and will speak up. And if not, like, you can deal with that for the rest of your life, but like you are going to deal with that for the rest of your life. So you just need to decide if that's something you can put up with. So that's my thoughts on that. Okay. Last one, you guys. Sorry, this is kind of long. Last week was a short episode. This one, we're back to the long ones. Okay. This one I think you guys will love because this girl is 18 and God bless her sweet fresh heart. I love you. Okay. Hi, Brenna. I need some advice from my internet big sister. Oh my gosh, she's 17. God bless. You guys, that's why some of my content, I'm like talking as if I'm like a full-blown 40-year-old woman and I'm like, listen up, your husband. And then other times I'm like, I need to talk to the younger girlies because girls in high school like are going through wildly different things than girls that are like older and, you know, more mature. Not to say that you are immature, but like, you know what I'm saying? Okay, Brenna, shut the fuck up and just read the question. I'm nearly 17 and my boyfriend is almost 18. We have been in our high school relationship for 2 years. I love how self-aware you guys have all been. Like everybody that messages me and asks questions is always like, I know I'm young, or like, I know this. So everybody's like aware of where they're at in life. And like, that is number one, impressive, but it just warms my heart. Okay. Sorry, Brenna, keep going. Let me start again. I'm nearly 17 and my boyfriend's almost 18 and we've been in a high school relationship for 2 years. I do love him and I know he loves me, but there are some big boxes that he doesn't check off. For example, he is not emotionally intelligent and not a good communicator. He just shuts down and gets annoyed anytime I bring up anything with depth. These things are not necessarily a problem in high school, but I need my future husband to be excellent at communicating and be in touch with his emotions. Incredible. Like wise beyond her years. Hello. Do you think I should ride this relationship out until the end of high school because we do have fun and I love him, or should I break it off sooner? We are in a lot of the same programs at school, so it could be a sticky situation, but I don't want to give him false hope when I can't see a life with him. Thank you so much for all your advice you give me and your followers. You are truly doing God's work. Oh my God, I love you. I literally love you. I love that you're in high school listening to me. Sorry that I cuss. I'm probably not the best influence at times. Here's the thing. Okay, I'm going to channel like high school Brenna. I love that you get it. Okay, you know that you're probably going to break up and that stinks, but like, hello, I had a high school boyfriend. Yeah, we broke up. I don't even remember his name at this point. Obviously, you can't see that now as a 17-year-old, but I digress because, oh my God, I'm 10 years older. Hello, 27, 17. Okay. If you are in the same program, so it's what, November, 5 months or until what, 6 or 7 months until the end of school is a long time. But if it's all good, fun, and fresh and you don't mind, you could stay, because I'm not going to lie, it's going to be awkward if you break up and you're in all these things together. And if he's not very mature, like it's just something you're going to have to deal with naturally in a normal, more adult relationship. I would say get out of the relationship ASAP. Like any girl that's in college, or like you're only wasting your own time. And I still believe that to be true in high school. However, I do understand the nuance, and like it's not that serious, and it might be serious to you now and you've been with this person for 2 years, but I think you just have to trust your gut. I support you in staying in it until the end of the school year, or I support you breaking up with him and getting out now. Like, I think that would be a great thing, but I do understand it's going to make things hella awkward. Oops, sorry, I shouldn't cuss, but I guess I do anyways. So you can't go wrong. My original piece of advice would be, like, my first piece would be to do it sooner. But like, also, if you can stick it out, you know, get through the end of the year. Oh my gosh, are you going to go to prom? I feel like these things kind of like work themselves out. Like if you're not ready at this point, like something will happen, it'll get brought up, and it'll fizzle out on its own, and you will get through it. Here's the thing. Even though you are almost deciding to do it, like you're the one that's going to break up with him, probably, it's still going to be hard. It's still going to be sad. You guys were together 2 years and you have probably no other relationships to base this off of, but you must be a junior and he's a senior. Maybe if you still have a year of high school left and he's going to go to college, like, yeah, you guys are going to be on different planets, and he should, you know, choose to go to college and live his best life without worrying about you if you're not serious about it. You know what I mean? But again, it's going to work out how it can. But obviously I would just say don't stay with him because you're scared to hurt his feelings and the awkwardness at school. Like that's the least of your worries. The worst thing to do is like stay in a relationship that's not right for you and get stuck in it, because that happens. But you're so young. You are so young and you know that. But I love that you're aware of these things, and I love that you have the confidence and that you're like, we need to have conversations, and like, you know that your husband needs to be in tune with his emotions. Yes. Okay, but that's my advice. Literally message me. I'm going to email all of you guys back right now so you know that I answered these. But yeah, that's what I would say. Oh my gosh, I love this. I liked the longer form question. So you guys, you can always email me, hello@brennaberg.com. I'll put a little thing in my podcast link. That way you guys don't forget, and message me your questions. And every week I'll try and go through like longer form questions, because I think we're all constantly going through things, whether it's relationship, it can be family, it can be friendships. Like you guys know I'm here to talk and give my opinion on all of the things. But that's it, you guys, for today's episode. Thank you so much for being here. Am I a fiance? I don't know. Next week, if I do get proposed to, will be an engagement episode where I tell you guys all of the details. Oh my gosh. If it doesn't happen, I'm just going to come with my tail between my legs. But if it does, next week's episode is going to be so fun. Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you guys so much for being here. As always, I hope you have the best week, and I will see you next Monday. Okay. Bye guys.